Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, The Red-Headed Homemaker. It's about 10 o'clock in my kitchen this morning, and today we're going to make Thanksgiving dinner. I'm going to show you some tips and tricks to help you get through your Thanksgiving day so you're not overwhelmed in the kitchen. We're going to take some store-bought stuff and we're going to make them taste great, and along with some homemade stuff. And at the end of the day, your Thanksgiving dinner will taste great. So the first thing I want to do this morning is I want to say thank you for everybody joining me. I really do love making these videos. Please hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and I'm really going to try to do better about dropping all my recipes in the links below. And please leave me any comments. I do try to answer all of them. And if I don't answer them, just write it on there again. Maybe I missed it when I was scrolling, but I love making these videos. So hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and let's get this Thanksgiving dinner started so I can show you how easy it is so you're not stressed on Thanksgiving Day. First thing we're going to do is the turkey, so let me get set up for that. Okay, the first thing I want to do is I want to get my turkey out of the package. I've had my turkey in the refrigerator for about 3 days. It's thawed out, so I'm going to go ahead and get it out of the package, and I'm going to wash it off. That's your preference if you want to wash it off. I always wash it off. Another thing you want to look at when you're opening your turkey is your cooking times. This is a 12-pound turkey, and it tells me to cook it for 3 to 3.5 hours at 325. I like to start my turkey a little early. I don't like to get it out of the oven and then try to carve it because it does make it a lot harder to carve. I also have a stick of butter in the microwave melting, and I'm going to show you what that's for. And I'm also going to soften a stick of butter. So I'm going to use 2 sticks of butter on my turkey, and I know you think that's a lot, but I take my drippings from my turkey and I put it in with my stuffing to give it better flavor. Now you do want to get the gravy pack out of your turkey. My sink is clean. I just bleached it. So let me get this over in the trash. Is everyone getting excited for Thanksgiving and Christmas? I know I am. I do wash my turkey off. Some people do, some people don't. It's your preference. If you see any kind of weird strings or anything like that, go ahead and get them off. You want to make sure you go in and get the neck. If it has all of that in there, which I don't know if this one does. I think this one did not. Nope, that looks good. I'm going to stuff that fat back in there. And my pan is a little tight. I didn't feel like going and getting my roasting pan. Wash my hands real quick. I don't use the gravy pack that comes with the turkey. I just throw it away. My family's not big on gravy, so I hope you can see this. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pat this turkey dry. I'm going to get all that moisture off that skin, because if you do, that will help brown it. So you're going to pat it really good and dry. And I'm going to go ahead and tuck my wings under the turkey, because if not, they'll tend to burn. Sometimes I can do this, sometimes I can't. Okay. And you want to keep your soap close because you're going to wash your hands a lot, especially when you're messing with raw meat. I try to keep my bleach spray handy, and I use a peroxide water spray that I keep. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to make an injectable marinade for this. So like I said, I had a stick of butter. I'm going to get a little whisk. This can be your own concoction. I'm going to use some ground sage. Let me move this where you can see how much I'm putting. I'm going to put about a teaspoon of sage in there, give or take a little bit. Sage goes really well with turkey, any kind of poultry. Alright, and the next thing I'm going to add some onion salt. I'm going to be using an injector, so you don't want any chunky. I'm going to use about a teaspoon of that also. You don't want any chunky herbs when I'm using my injector, because my injector head is really small. And I got some seasoned salt here. I'm going to use about a teaspoon, teaspoon and a half. I really like the flavor of that. This is just Trader Joe's seasoning salt. You can use any kind of seasoning salt. And last but not least, some garlic salt. And I really put a lot of that. I'm gonna say about a tablespoon of garlic salt. And you wanna mix it up really good. And you wanna make sure your butter stays warm because you don't want it to start thickening because it will clog the head of your injector. So let me get my injector on my basting tool and I'll come right back and show you the next step. Okay, I moved my camera, so I hope you can see this a little bit better. All right, I have my melted butter with my seasoning in it. And like I said, you can use any seasoning, but if you're gonna use the injector, make sure you don't get really chunky seasoning. Like I wouldn't use fresh sage or anything like that because it will not come through your injector. I also have a stick of softened butter that I soften in the microwave, or you can leave it out on the counter. It's really, really soft. I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with that. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to add the same seasons that I added to the injector. I'm going to add the same thing here. So about a tablespoon of garlic, about a teaspoon of the seasoned salt, and this is where you could put your fresh herbs. If you wanted to put the fresh sage or whatever you want to use, you could use it here. I didn't have any, so this is what I'm using. So we're going to do this. Like I said, I used about a teaspoon of sage, a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of seasoning salt, and a little bit more garlic, depending on your garlic flavor. That sage is really going to work good in the poultry. I'm going to work this in, get it all mixed up. You're basically just making a flavored butter. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to put this under the skin. So not only are we going to have what's injected, we're also going to have the butter and all from the top of this, from under the skin, seeping into your turkey. So first thing you want to do, I'm going to put I got this right here from Amazon. It's just a basting tool, but it comes with an injector, so I thought that was kind of cool, and it's stainless steel, so it makes it so much nicer to clean. It came with a brush. I'll try to remember to drop a link to it, but I'm just going to mix this up a little bit. I hope you can see everything I'm doing. And like I said, this turkey is thawed, so it should be good and easy to inject. And we're just going to go in and we're just going to start injecting. And hopefully this will inject good. You can see how it kind of plumps up the skin right there. So I'm going to get some more, and it's okay if it oozes out. And what's left of this, I won't inject all of it, but what's left, we will pour on top. Give us some good color. And a lot of people base like throughout cooking the turkey. I do some. I'm not real good at it. Like I don't go in there every 30 minutes and baste it. When I think about it, I baste it. So I mean, it's going to be in the oven for 3.5 hours. I don't see where the basting really adds a lot of flavor to the turkey breast because it's only on there for a second, then it runs right off. But that's just my opinion. So I think I've got this side pretty good. Let me do just a little bit more. Alright. Alright, now let me do the other breast. This gives it really good flavor, and it also helps keep it a little moist when it's cooking. But you can see it puffs up where the butter's going. So, I love Thanksgiving and I love Christmas. That's probably my two favorite times of year. They were always really special around my house. I know I've mentioned in other videos that my mom passed away, so I do try to cook some of the same foods that she cooks and take them to my family. So a lot of memories there. We really do try to get together. She was really adamant about us coming home on Sundays for dinner. So we always have that, you know. So I don't get to do it every Sunday, but I do try to do it at least once or twice a month. So sometimes a little bit more, sometimes less, just depends. Life gets crazy. Alright, so I've just about got this turkey injected. Now, I like to inject my turkey first before I go under the skin. It's your preference. It's whatever you want to do. Now we're going to go under the skin. I'm going to show you how to do this. See if I can get you a good angle. I'm sorry about the lighting. We had new windows put in our kitchen and I haven't had a chance to put the mini blinds up yet. So you have 2 breasts on your turkey. So what you're going to do, there's going to be your skin right here. You're going to want to lift up your skin and you're going to make a pocket under your turkey. I'm sure some of you seen this. Some of you may not have. You really don't want to try to rip this part right here. I mean, if you rip it, but you really want to try to keep it intact. So I've made me a really good pocket. So I'm going to take about half of my butter. And I'm just going to start putting it. Once you start this, you can't enter your phone or anything because your hands are going to be covered. And you want to work it in there the best you can. Try to get it back in there. I've seen people use wooden spoons to try to push it back in there. I just take my fingers and just kind of work it. So, and you want to do that on the other side also. You can put an onion inside the turkey while it's cooking to give it more flavor. I don't really see, I mean, anything to give the turkey more flavor helps. So if you want to stuff it with the onion, stuff it with the onion. I typically don't. So the onion powder that I put in the injectable and then this is plenty. So just want to work that in. If you want to take a little bit and rub it on top of the turkey, you can. It'll give it some good color later on. I'm no chef by no means, so I'm just a regular old cook who likes to experiment with things. This is where I came up with this. So get all that butter on there. Okay, I'm back. Now I'm going to take the rest of what's in my measuring cup, which is a lot of seasoning. I got most of the butter out, and I'm just going to pour it over top of the turkey and get it down in there. And then I'll come back with a brush and I'll brush it on. Could not believe Christmas is around the corner. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy. It'll be here before we know it. I'm going to be doing another video for y'all, I hope. I don't know if any of y'all stock up on groceries like I do, because I am a hoarder. Y'all all know that. Kroger's is having an awesome sale if you have a Kroger in your area. They're doing the Green Giant vegetables. They're doing the pasta, the Swanson chicken broth, beef broth. They're doing all that for 49 cents. Their chicken breasts are $1.74 for the Purdue, which is a really good brand around here. So if you have a Kroger in your area, check out the ad because it does not run out until the 17th. So you have plenty of time to stock up. But Green Giant vegetables for 49 cents in my area is unheard of. They're usually between $1.15 and $1.29 a can. So I'm ashamed to say this, but we went and bought over 300 cans of vegetables. So we should be stocked up for a while. But the reason I do that, they run this sale twice a year, usually in November and April. And I usually get enough vegetables to last me from one sale to the next. But with everything going on crazy, I went ahead and bought extra this time just in case they don't have the sale next time. So, alright, we've got, I know I'm rambling, sorry. We've got the turkey in there. I did double my pan. I'm going to go ahead and put the foil on it. I do cover it. It's got to cook between 3 to 3.5 hours. I'll check it about 2.5 hours, and if it looks like it's going good, I'll go ahead and take the cover off of it so I can get a nice good golden brown on it. So I'm going to cover this up really tight. I'm going to put this on a pan to make it a little bit easier to get out of the oven. Get my pan out of my toaster oven. Sets in this really good. Alrighty, and then I'm going to swing y'all over here, hopefully, so y'all can see me putting it in my dirty oven. And I've already got my oven preheated to 325. And I'm going to put my turkey in. And I like to put it to one side if I can fit it, just to make it easier if I need to go ahead and cook my stuff in and stuff. So let me get set up for the next recipe, and I'll be right back. Okay, so the next recipe I'll be doing, I'm going to go ahead and peel my potatoes for my mashed potatoes. I didn't think I'd want to bore y'all with peeling potatoes, but for my family, it's about 12 to 13 of us. So I'm going to peel about 10 pounds of potatoes for everybody. I just go ahead and peel them. I wash them off really good. I cube them up. I go ahead and do that early, and I cover them with cold water, and I just leave them sitting on the stove, and they're fine. I don't cut them on yet, and I usually cut them on about an hour and a half before I get ready to take everything to my dad's, because I do take everything to my dad's. We all eat up there. My dad lives about 2 miles from me, so it's not that big of a deal. But I do like to cook everything in my cast iron pots if I can. It keeps it really warm and hot by the time I get up there. But like I said, I'm only up there. It's only about a 2-minute drive, so it's not a big deal if I don't. I do cook my green beans and my mashed potatoes in the cast iron pots to take up there. They, like I said, they maintain the heat better. But my stuffing and my macaroni and cheese, the throwaway pans that you saw me use for the turkey, I'll put that in there because whatever's left, I just leave up there. And then they can eat on it during the week because I'm not a big leftover fan. My husband is some, but my son doesn't like leftovers either. So I usually just leave everything up there for my dad and my brother to eat on. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and get these potatoes peeled. I didn't want to bore you with that. But I usually peel about 10 pounds of potatoes. I'll show you the pot when I get done with it, how many potatoes is in it. So I'll be right back. Before I do the potatoes, I'm going to go ahead and get my green beans on. So I wanted to show you what I do to make my canned green beans taste really good. At least I think they do. My family does. So this is probably a southern thing. I don't even know. But I'm going to show you what I do to make my green beans taste really good and give it a good flavor. Okay, I have a 101 ounce can of green beans, Del Monte, that I got at Sam's. They sell them, I want to say around $3.48 a can. Then I also have a can of the green beans that I got in my Sharp Shopper haul. This is a 49.5 ounce can. This one was $1.79 at Sharp Shopper. I'm not sure if they still have them. I haven't been there in a while. I do need to make another trip. And I am putting it in, like I said, in my cast iron Dutch oven. I love, 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 love my cast iron enamel pots. I use them all the time. All right, this is my trick to make my green beans taste, to have a really good flavor. I usually get a country ham hock. I usually get salt pork. You can use streaked meat. You could use just plain country ham. Anything that will give your green beans that salty, smoky kind of flavor is going to make your green beans taste better. At least in my opinion. Everybody's opinion is different, but this is what I use. I get this at Walmart. It's a 12 ounce pack and it says country ham hock. You can get the country ham bits, and then they have sliced pork like this, I believe. I don't like that as much because it falls apart too much in your green beans. This stays together pretty good. You'll still have a little few bits floating around here and there, but I usually try to get most of it out. I'm going to go ahead and use the whole pack. I want to say this is like $2.99, $3.29, something like that. So it's not very expensive to add in there. But I will be putting both cans in there, so I'm going to use the whole thing. If I was just using one of my little cans like this, I probably would only put about half. So, and maybe not quite half. Sometimes it's really hard to cut. It is a vacuum sealed pack that I'm cutting open, so just give me a second. But all I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop this in the bottom of the pot, put my green beans on top, cover it in water, and I'm going to cook it slow all day long. It's that easy. And then I'll keep a check on it throughout the day to make sure it has plenty of water. But if you don't have one of these cast iron Dutch ovens, you really should think about getting one because they do work really, really good. Especially when you're cooking something all day. The pot is heavy enough on the bottom that nothing sticks or burns. So that's why I like using it. You saw me use my big pot for my soup. That also has a thick bottom too. That's something you want to watch for when you're buying your, not that I'm any kind of expert on buying pots and pans or anything, but anytime you get pots and pans, you want to make sure you have a thick bottom because if you don't, that's when things start burning. So let me get these covered up with water and get them on the stove, and then I'm going to start peeling my potatoes. Alright, so it's 10:30 now. We started at around 10. We've already got our turkey in the oven, and we've already got our green beans on. So now the next thing I'm going to do is my potatoes, and I will show you what they look like from the pot because I didn't want to bore you with me peeling potatoes. Alright, I got my pot of potatoes cut up. I had some russets and I had a couple golden potatoes. So one thing about potatoes I will say, you need to salt them heavily before you start cooking them. It's easier to salt them now than it is afterwards. I find that I put less salt if I put it in before than if I put it in after. So I'm just going to take some salt, sprinkle it in there. 2 good pinches, maybe 3. I don't put pepper in it now while it's getting ready to cook. I always wait for my pepper afterwards when I go to mix it. And I'm just going to fill my pot up with water. I know you can't see it. I'm just going to cover my potatoes with water. Sorry, that was a little blurry. Ooh. There you go. Hopefully that's better. I'm going to cover my potatoes with water, and I'm going to get them on the stove. I'm just going to cover them with the lid. And like I said, about an hour and a half before I get ready to leave, I'll put them on high and let them get soft, and I'll show you how I mash them when I get ready to cook them. Well, when I get ready to mix them, I'll show you my steps on how to do that. So let me get these on the stove and get them covered. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get my corn in the pot. Of course, if my corn is frozen, I put this up this year. See, this might be last year's. Last year we put up 250 ears of corn. This year I put up 150 ears of corn, or maybe 200 this year, I can't remember. We go through a lot of corn. I buy it, shuck it, cut it off the cob, and then I vacuum seal it. I think these are probably, if I had to guess, 1.5 cup measurements that I put in my vacuum seal bags. I'll have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure these are 1.5 cups. I'm going to open up 5 bags today for everybody. And I've got not quite a stick of butter. I may not use it all, but I'm going to go ahead and get this open. It's not going to hurt for this to sit on the stove for a little bit, because like I said, it is frozen. So I've had it sitting out for a little bit. Makes it getting out the bags easier if I let it sit out a little bit before I try to open them. But yeah, I love putting up corn. If you can catch it, I think we actually got this corn. I think this is last year's corn, so I bought it at the farmer's market. I can't remember what I paid for it. It was a little more than what I would pay for it at Walmart. This year we got the frozen corn at Walmart for $1/4 an ear. And I want to say we either bought 150 or 200 ears, I'm not sure, but I like to buy all my produce like that at one time, and then I'll just spend a whole day working that produce up, getting it vacuum sealed and getting it in the freezer, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. I'm going to start with about 1/2 stick of butter. This wasn't quite a full stick, so yeah, we're going to need more butter than that. I'm just going to go ahead and use it. It wasn't quite a full stick, so that is 5 big bags of corn. So okay, got my corn done. All I got to do is heat it up. I don't put anything else on it. I don't put salt, pepper. I don't put anything on it. If the corn, if you taste it, it's not quite sweet enough, you can put a little sugar. But this corn from last year was super sweet, so it doesn't need anything but a little bit of butter. So, got the corn done. Let me get it on the stove. Okay, got about 45 minutes left on my turkey, so I want to go ahead and check it. Make sure it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. I don't see any problems, but let's just check it. I'm going to go ahead and baste it. Oh yeah, that looks so good. I'm just going to get a spoon to baste it with. Oh yeah, that looks really, really good. Anybody can do a turkey. It's not hard. Don't let it intimidate you by no means. I really didn't want to have to get my turkey baster, but it looks like I'm going to have to. At least it's clean. I just washed it. Because that's what I bought it for, huh? Try to hold my pan to the side. This thing has the pop-up thing in it, but I don't know. I don't trust it. I have a meat thermometer. And once I think it's getting close, I'll check it myself, but like I said, I don't really trust the pop-up thing. I've had it pop up and to me it didn't seem like it was done, so. Alright, I'm gonna put this back in the oven. Get a little bit of juice down in there. Alright. I'm going to put this back in the oven. It's got about 45 minutes left on it, so I'm going to put it back in the oven without the aluminum foil on it. That way the skin can darken up some. That pan was almost too small for that turkey, but I made it work. So let me get this back in the oven. Yes, if anybody can tell, I am barefooted today, so that seems to be my thing in the kitchen. I don't like to wear shoes or socks, so Alright, that's going back in the oven. Last 45 minutes. 45 minutes, I'll check the temperature, the internal temperature, and I want to make sure that it's cooked all the way through. I do have a meat thermometer that I'll check it with. And when we get closer to that, I'll show you how I do that. Okay, I'm trying to hold the camera and let's show you this too. I want to show you my green beans. They're cooking away. Oh, sorry about the steam. Sorry about the steam. But you can see they're cooking. They still got plenty of water on them. I'll let these go till about 4 o'clock. I just want to make sure they keep covered. But that's what the green beans are looking like. Oh, this dinner's going to come together so good. Okay, sorry for all the mess here, but let's make some homemade rolls. These are, if you've ever been to Texas Roadhouse, these are copycat Texas Roadhouse rolls. They are very easy to make if you have a bread machine, and I've never tried making them without a bread machine, so I don't know how they would be, but I'm going to show you the bread machine recipe, and then you can, I'm sure you can go online and Google recipes, like mix it up with your KitchenAid or whatever. Like I said, again, sorry for the mess. I'm going to spray my bread machine container with a little bit of Pam just to keep it from sticking. Alright, the first thing you want is a quarter cup of warm milk and a cup of warm, quarter cup of warm water and a cup of warm milk. I didn't have any milk when I made these the first time. All I had was evaporated milk. And I really like the texture and the flavor, so that's what I'm going to go with. So it's a half a cup of evaporated milk and a half a cup of water, and I've heated it up. I've also heated up a quarter cup of milk and 2 tablespoons of butter. You don't want it hot, you just want it warm. My butter was already softened when I put it in here. The pan is not even too hot that I can't touch it. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the bottom of my bowl of my bread maker. Let me put this over in the sink. Okay. And the next thing you want to add is a teaspoon of salt. Give or take a little bit. I kind of like mine a little on the saltier side, so I don't level my teaspoon out very much. The reason you don't want your milk and all really hot, because once you add the yeast, if it's too hot, your yeast won't rise. Okay, you also need an egg. This is a really simple recipe if you have a dough maker. A bread maker. Now my bread maker has a dough setting. I'm sure most of them do now. So the next thing you're going to add is a quarter cup of sugar. So let me go get that real quick. I have stuff everywhere in my kitchen today, so sorry if I'm kind of scrambling around. I know this sounds like a lot of sugar, but if you've ever had the rolls, they are on the sweeter side. I think that's probably why I like them. Alright, and the next thing we're going to add is 3.5 cups of flour. I don't measure this out exactly. I don't level out my cups. I'm just going to put them in there. Alright, there's my 3. I'll just kind of guesstimate my half. Alright, that's over in there now. Okay, and the next thing we're going to add is 2¼ teaspoons of yeast. I keep my yeast in, I buy the big thing at Sam's and I keep it in a glass bowl in the refrigerator and it lasts forever. So there's 1, 2, 1¼ Alright, that's all it is to that bread recipe. We're going to put this in here. We're going to set our bread machine on the dough setting. Make sure it locks in. I have put it in there before and not locked it. Alright, let me put it on the dough setting. Get this going. It takes about 2 hours on the dough setting. The good thing about this recipe, you don't have to let the dough rise once you take it out of the bread machine. And I'll show you those steps when I get the bread out. Well, the dough out. It's not bread yet, but when I get the dough out. Alright, I just wanted to hop on here and give y'all a quick update of things I've already got done. It is 12:48, and remember we started at 10 o'clock. Alright, I've already got my corn sitting here waiting. I've got my potatoes cut up, ready to go. Of course, my green beans are still cooking. Try to take this off without getting steam all over y'all. Okay. And don't look at my dirty oven, but my turkey's in the oven cooking away, getting a nice golden brown skin. All right, we got the bread in the bread maker, and I don't know if you can tell, we got about an hour and 15 minutes left on that. All right, we got all that stuff done. It's only 12:48, 12:50. Only thing we got left to do is the macaroni and cheese, the stuffing, and the deviled eggs. And then we'll make the rolls. When they get done, I'll show you how easy they are to make. So simple. Fold them in half. I'll show you. It's really simple. So I'm going to go ahead and get my deviled egg, my eggs in my pressure cooker, my Instapot. Go ahead and get them done. That way they can be cooling off so I can peel them and get deviled eggs made out of those. All right, let's make Instapot deviled eggs. I'm going to cook my eggs in my Instapot until they get done. Then I'll take them out. I'm going to drop them in some cold water. Some people do an ice bath. I just run cold water over them. They seem to do just fine. First thing you want to do is I have my little trivet in my pressure cooker, my Instapot, sorry. And I'm going to go ahead and add about a cup of water, give or take. Just get some water in there. I usually fill it up till it almost is at the bottom of the trivet. The trivet had the little rack, has like little feet on it, so it lifts it up. And then you can place however many eggs you want in here. I'm going to do probably about 12 eggs. You just want to kind of line them up in the bottom. You can fill this Instapot up with eggs. If your family eats eggs like during the week, like hard-boiled eggs during the week, fill it up. So this was 18, so that's 12 eggs in there. All right, I'm going to put my top on. All right, and I'm also going to make sure my valve is to the back. You want it to be on pressure, not on vent. And then I'm just going to set my timer for 5 minutes. And let's see, pressure cook, 5 minutes, it's already there. And just going to leave it alone. It's on normal pressure. I don't put it on high pressure or anything like that. And they do just fine. So we're going to let this come up to pressure, cook. It's already locked, it's ready to go. Well, not locked, but it's ready to go. In 5 minutes, when this it takes longer than 5 minutes because you have to wait for it to come up to pressure and come down from pressure. But it'll stay under pressure for 5 minutes. You can do the quick release. I normally don't. I usually just let it come down by itself till the lid unlocks and comes off. But once I get that done, I'll show you how I make my deviled eggs. Okay, we're back. We're going to take our eggs out of our Instapot. I'm going to I have a strainer over in my sink, and I'm just going to run cold water over them. So I'm going to try to get these out without burning my hands. Last time I was able to pick it up by the rack. Dropped one. Oh well. Alright. Some tongs and get that out. Should be fine. Now I'm just going to run cold water over this for just a little bit. That way they'll be easier to peel. We'll go ahead and unplug this. Take this out and put it over in the sink. Wash that up, and I'm going to get this out of the way, and I'll come back and show you the next step. But you can see, I don't know if you can see or not, but there you go. You can see I'm just running cold water over the eggs, letting them cool down. That way they'll just be easier to peel. I'll be right back and show you how I peel them. Alright, I want to apologize in advance. My bread machine is going through the cycle, so you probably hear it in the background, but I'm going to go ahead and peel these eggs. Really nothing to it. I like to leave my water running just a little bit. Just peel them. They come off. The peeling comes right easy. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the peeling comes right off. And I just peel them, and I'm going to lay a paper towel down so they can kind of be getting some of the water off of them while I'm peeling them. And then after that, I'll show you how I season them up. I cut them in half, and then I'll take everything out, and I'll show you all those steps. Let me go ahead and get these peeled, and I'll be right back. Alright, I've got my eggs all peeled, and I'm ready to start doing this egg salad. I mean, the deviled eggs. I don't know why I want to keep saying egg salad. It's not egg salad. Just gonna cut your eggs in half. See how nice and done they are? They just pop right out. I have this little deviled egg tray. It was my mom's. It's got her name on the bottom of it on a piece of tape. I guess when she would take it to like different functions and stuff. I just don't have the heart to take it off. So there are so many deviled egg recipes out there. Some put relish. I put mustard, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and mayonnaise, salt, and pepper. Some people put paprika on the top. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Most of the time I don't. But I do, once I get all my eggs on the tray, which all these eggs probably might be able to squeeze some extras in there. I do sprinkle a little salt on my egg halves before I fill them. So I don't know if any of y'all do that or not. That's just how I do it. I did do 12. I'm hoping I can kind of do that. I'm hoping. We'll see. I might be making more of a mess than it's worth. I might just put them in a little Tupperware container. Sometimes the deviled eggs get eaten. Sometimes they don't. Guess it just depends on the mood everybody's in. I know my aunt makes them and she puts pickle relish in hers, sweet pickle relish. I've always just made them like this. So I remember when I was pregnant with my son, I had a supervisor where I used to work and I craved deviled eggs and she would always make me some. At least once or twice every couple of weeks she would make me some. Oh, they were so good. And I still love them to this day. See if I can just... Sometimes when I'm just me and my husband here, because my son doesn't like them, I'll just make take like 3 or 4 eggs and make them. Alright, got all that. I try to clean up as I go. Sometimes I do good, sometimes I don't. Alright, now we're going to add our mayonnaise. I'm going to put about a tablespoon of mustard. You can always add more, you can't take away. And I'm going to put for 12 eggs, I'll probably put about a capful and a half of vinegar. You can always add more, can't take it away. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and salt my egg halves before I fill them. Okay. And I also want to put some salt in here. I don't know. Teaspoon, maybe. Start with like 3/4 of a teaspoon and add more. You can always add more. Can't take away. Do I have a good angle on that? Let's see. Let me move this just a little bit for y'all. There we go. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Alright. And we're going to get some mayonnaise. I'm going to start with about a dollop. Hopefully that's not too much. Let me get a fork. Alright, I'm just going to go through and start mushing. I'm a big taster as I'm cooking. I know some people are, some people aren't. My husband laughs and says I eat my meal before I even get to the table because I like to taste everything. But that way I know it's got enough salt or pepper or whatever I'm cooking. I want to make sure that it tastes good. Now, I have one of those fancy pastry bags. I could fill it up. You could use a Ziploc bag, pipe this on there, but I'm not going to today. I can't tell you how much mayonnaise to put because I just put some, stir it up, but don't start off with a lot. You just wanted a creamy texture. Kind of like mashed potatoes, I guess. I don't know if you can see that or not. Get a spoon and taste it. Make sure it doesn't need any more salt or anything. definitely no more salt. I'm gonna put just a little bit more vinegar. So that would be like 2 capfuls. I like to have that little bit of tang. Of course, it's your preference, but this is how I make them. Get another spoon. I go through a lot of spoons when I'm cooking. But yeah, perfect. All right. All I'm gonna do, clean spoon, just take some eggs and just kind of put it in there. I'm gonna go ahead and do these. That's all it is to making deviled egg. You can top these with paprika, a little bit of chive if you wanted, but normally I don't. Tastes really good. Really side dish, a really easy side dish to make for Thanksgiving. So there's another dish down, and it's only 1:30. I still got 2.5 hours to go. So we're really doing really good on our time. Okay, turkey's out of the oven. It looks amazing. I've already checked the temperature. Sorry I didn't get that on video. I thought I had hit record, but I didn't. But I don't know if you can see it. I can't lean it too much, but it come out so good. All right, now I have all these drippings. And I was talking earlier about doing the stovetop stuffing. So what I do for my stovetop, I've already cut up celery and onion. I'm going to put celery and onion and 3 cups of the drippings of this. And if I don't get 3 cups, I'm going to add chicken broth to it. And I'm going to let that simmer. And I always put about 3 1/4 cups. I always put a little bit of extra liquid because I like to let my celery and onions simmer until they're tender in that liquid. So I always put a little bit extra because I don't like dry stuff and my husband does, so it usually comes out about right. So I'm going to get off as much of the drippings as I can from this, and then whatever I'm short on the 3 cups, I'm going to add chicken broth to it. So let me go ahead and do that for you. Okay, we're back. Okay, out of the turkey, I got about 2 cups of broth, butter. Normally Stovetop calls for a 1/4 cup of butter for each box. I'm going to make 2 boxes. I think that'll be plenty for my family. All right, I already have some celery and onions chopped up. I'm just going to put them in the bowl. I did about 4 stalks of celery and about 1/2 of a big onion. Okay, and I said we needed 3 cups plus a 1/4 cup of each. So we need 3 cups. So we need about 3 1/2 cups of liquid, counting the butter, because you can see, I don't know if you can tell on here or not, but there's a lot of butter in this. Remember, I added 2 sticks of butter, so I'm just going to take this up to about the 3 1/2 cup mark. And like I said, I usually do a little bit extra, so we're just going to do that. And I'm going to put that in there because I'm going to let this boil for a while on the stove. Once my celery and my onions get soft, I can go ahead and add my stuffing mix, and then I'll put it in one of my aluminum throwaway pans, and I bake it for about 45 minutes in the oven to kind of dry it out a little bit so it's not so mushy. And then I'll slice it in squares and we'll eat it up there. So that's how I do my stuffing. Like I said, add a little bit of extra liquid because you are going to let the celery and onions cook until they're tender. But that's how I spruce up a box of stovetop stuffing, or 2 boxes of stovetop stuffing. So, oh, and by the way, I am using the stovetop, the chicken flavor. I'm not a fan of the turkey flavor, so I always get the chicken flavor. Now, if you wanted to, you could take some of your dark meat, if you like dark meat, off your turkey and shred it up. If nobody likes to eat dark meat, like just eat it, which my family doesn't. We normally just eat the breast. You could take some of the dark meat and chop it up really fine and add it in here for some filler. I don't do that. My family doesn't like dark meat, but that is something else you can do. So that's how I spruce up my stovetop stuffing for Thanksgiving. One more thing, I don't add my stovetop until I get ready to mix it up in the bowl. I wait for everything to get good, cooked. My celery's tender, my onion's tender. Then I'll add my stovetop once that's all done, and then we'll go from there and putting it in the pan. So I just wanted to add that in there. Okay, my green beans have been cooking since 10 o'clock and it's 2:21 now. I'm gonna go ahead and take the country ham hock out of it, and then I'm gonna let it continue to cook. It doesn't, the ham hock has already done what it's gonna do, so I'm just gonna try to find it without tearing it up too much. And just take it out. Try not to take out all my green beans with it. You'll have a few little pieces, but for the most part, it comes out in one big clump. I kind of make sure I got it all. Pocket of meat right there. I don't care if it's a little pieces of meat. I always worry about the little pieces of bone, which I've never had that problem, but all right, I think I got most of it. Got a few more little stragglers. Get all this out. I can throw this in the trash now. If I was doing streaked meat, I probably would fry my streaked meat first and let it render fat from that, and then pour the fat and then lay the streaked meat on top. I don't like to use streaked meat because the streaked meat falls apart too much in my beans. So I always do this method. Now I'm going to leave the lid off for probably the next hour and let some of this juice cook down. We don't need all this juice. One, I don't want it to get all over my car, and two, I just think they get too soupy if it's like this, so I'm not going to touch them anymore. I got the meat out, and I'm going to let these cook for about an hour with the lid off on about medium. I don't want it to boil dry, but I want to get most of the liquid off, so I'm just going to let them sit here and simmer. If you can tell over here in this pot, this is the onions and celery with the chicken broth and turkey broth bubbling away. I'm letting the celery and the onions get tender, and once they get tender, I can go ahead and add my stuffing and go ahead and get that in the pan, and I'll slide it in the oven. My oven is not on right now, and what I'll do is right before I get ready to cook it, I'll take it out of the oven. I just need counter space, so I'm just gonna put it in the oven for now, but I'll take it out, preheat my oven to about 350, and then put it back in there. So that's where that is at. So we've got the green beans done, the potatoes are cut up, the corn is sitting over there waiting, the stovetop stuffing's almost done, and the only thing else I need to make is macaroni and cheese, and that will be the last dish that I make. The deviled eggs are in the refrigerator getting cold, and the bread is about ready to come out of the bread maker, and I'm going to show you how I do that when that comes out. Hope you're enjoying this video. Remember to like and subscribe this video, and subscribe to my channel, The Red-Headed Homemaker. Okay, my broth is boiling. My celery and onions are really tender. I'm going to go ahead and add my 2 packs of Stovetop in there. I'm going to first cut my heat off. But I'm going to let it set on the burner, but I want to cut my heat off. Go ahead and add number 1 and number 2. And I like to use a fork to kind of fluff it up. I don't like it mushed together, so I found this fork plastic thing at the Lodge store in Tennessee. We went to Pigeon Forge, and I found it in there, and I use it all the time. It's just kind of like a big plastic fork. So you can see how wet that is. I'm going to let it sit on this burner for just a few minutes. I'm not going to stir it anymore. Everything's covered. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to transfer it to my throwaway pan. Be right back. Okay, the stuffing's been sitting on my burner for a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and transfer it to my pan. I'm just showing you tricks. If you can make homemade stuffing for Thanksgiving, by all means make homemade stuffing, but sometimes I don't have time, and this is my little trick that I do. And then I'm just going to spread this out in an even layer. Just like that. Alright. And I'm just going to slide this in the oven until I'm ready to cook it. It'll stay warm for a while. You could eat it like this if you want, but I prefer to bake it and get a little bit of a crust on it. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this in the oven until I'm ready to cook, and we'll come back, and the next thing we'll be doing is the rolls. Okay, my bread dough came out. I'm going to put down a little bit of flour. I think some people call this bench flour. I don't know. Anyways, we're going to put down a little bit so it doesn't stick. This is a really, really sticky dough. So I'm going to get that down, and I'm going to I already have a sheet down, a baking sheet down with parchment paper. I'm going to go ahead and get this out. Like I said, this is a really sticky dough, and for some reason it went over the side of my try to get this all out. See what I'm saying when I say it's a sticky dough? It's a really sticky dough. Very about sticky. I hope y'all can see this. Alright. Sprinkle a little bit on top so I can work it. Your goal is to make a big rectangle. Well, this was not this sticky last night. Alright, let's just make a big rectangle. Get some more flour. And some more flour. Make this workable. There we go. Okay. We just want to fold it in half. That's possible. A little bit more flour. Bread is so temperamental sometimes. Alright, that's about what we want right there. Okay. Let me wash my hands up and I'll show you the next step. Alright, I know this isn't the best angle of the camera, but I'm going to cut this down the middle. Your goal is to make 18 rolls. So okay, sorry, my camera card got full and I wasn't able to video the rest of the rolls, but here they are in the oven baking, and you can see they're not all the same size, and that's okay. They're still going to taste great, but they're in there baking. 350 for 10 to 15 minutes. I know last night when I did them, I put them on for 15 minutes and they were fine. I've got my water boiling for my macaroni and cheese. And I'm using a pound box, 16-ounce box of just elbow macaroni, number 35. This brand right here. You can get any brand. Macaroni's macaroni. I know some of you probably will disagree with that, but this is what I use. I just use a pound box. And I'm going to show you how I make my macaroni and cheese in just 1 second. Okay, I got my water boiling. I've added my pasta. I did put some salt in there once the water was just about ready to start boiling. And I'm just going to keep whisking it. I don't want my pasta to stick and get in clumps. So every now and then I'll just come in here and whisk it a little bit. You're going to use this whisk in a minute. So that's why I'm using a whisk right now. So this is how I am so far. And I'm going to get my macaroni done. I don't want it al dente, I want it done. Alright, I just got the rolls out of the oven. I'm going to brush the tops of them with a little bit of butter. And I'm going to put a clean dish towel over top of them until we're ready to eat. I don't want to put them in anything because I don't want them to sweat. So I'm just going to leave them on the cookie sheet and put a clean dish towel over them, and if we need to heat them up, we'll just heat them up in the oven just for a few minutes. But like I said, they're not perfect, but they taste amazing. At least they did last night. So there we go, Texas Roadhouse rolls. I do have the recipe, and I'll try to remember to link it. I'm really bad about linking stuff, but I'm going to try to remember to link all this stuff for y'all. I have the recipe for the cinnamon butter that they make. I'll have to look it up for you, but if I don't link it by any chance, either write me a comment or just Google Texas Roadhouse cinnamon butter. But that's all I'm going to do for that. And I'm going to set them over here to the side for a few minutes, let them cool down, and then I'm going to cover them with a towel. And that is Texas Roadhouse rolls. Okay, macaroni's done. I'm going to pour it in a strainer, I mean, sorry. I want to make sure I get all my pasta out. I'm going to show you why. We're going to go back over to the stove. Okay, this is how I do my macaroni and cheese. I'm going to put in some milk, about maybe 3/4 of a cup. We're going to put in that much milk. We can always add milk later. I use Land O'Lakes sliced cheese. You can use any kind of sliced cheese. You can freshly grate cheese, however you want. But I'm going to make like a cheese sauce. So I'm just going to start breaking this up. The only place that I can find the Land O'Lakes cheese is at BJ's in my area. Walmart used to carry it, and of course with everything else, they quit carrying it. So I'm going to cut up about, I don't know, 15 slices maybe. And then that whisk that we used earlier, that's where the whisk comes in. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and add some salt and pepper to this. I'm going to cut my burner back on to about medium. Just sprinkle you some salt and pepper in there. You can always add more. You can't take away. You don't want to add too much salt because your cheese is real salty. And I just really watch it. You can add more cheese if you need to, but this will start breaking down. And once I get it this melted and then together, once I pour it in my pan, if I think I need more milk, I can always go and add more milk. So I'm gonna you want to just keep stirring it. You don't want it to stick because it will get yucky. So I just kind of keep going with it till it starts getting warm and melting. You can tell when it starts melting. Break this down. Okay, I'll come back when this is all melted up, but you can see what I'm doing. I'm just kind of cutting into them a little bit and keeping it going. I don't want it to sit on the bottom too long because I don't want my cheese to stick. Alright, I have my cheese sauce all melted. There's still a few little chunks in there, but just keep whisking, they'll go away. Now I'm going to add back into the pot my macaroni. Whoop. I don't throw it in the floor first. Don't, oh, see, messy, messy. It's okay. Everything's clean. I've done wiped everything off about 1,000 times today, so it's all good. All right, got that back in there. We're gonna whisk this in. I don't really think I need to add any more milk because that looks really good and creamy. I am gonna add a little bit more pepper. And I don't think I'm going to add any more salt because, like I said, the cheese is already salty. And we're going to be putting cheese on top of this. So I got that done. We're going to get a spatula and I'm going to pour it into this pan. You want to get all that good cheesy creamy flavor out of there. Okay, spread it out. And at this point, if you look at it and you think it needs more milk, add more milk, but I think this is going to be creamy enough. All right. And now we're just going to top it with some shredded cheddar cheese. Just going to dump in that whole bag. My family loves some cheese, so especially my husband. We're going to cover that with some cheese, just like that. All right, this will go in the oven, 350, 375. All you're really doing, because your macaroni is done, all you're really doing is just getting the cheese melted on top and baking that milk in a little bit. But I don't make it really runny, so it's not going to take long to cook it all. So I'd say 350, 375 for about 30 minutes until your top is really good and golden brown. So there's the macaroni and cheese. The only thing left we have to do, I believe, is the mashed potatoes. Okay, we're on the home stretch. I just pulled my stuffing out of the oven. The macaroni and cheese is still in there. I'm going to let the stuffing cool down just for a few minutes, and I'm going to cover it with foil. And I'll set it to the side. We've got the potatoes cooking over here. I don't know if you can see. Green beans, I'm getting the juice off of. I'm getting most of the juice off of it. The potatoes are boiling. They're almost done. And I've got some milk and butter heating up on the back of the burner to mash my potatoes with. And I'll explain that to you when I get ready to mash them. My corn is already done. I've already put it on the warming burner and just got it sitting there warming. So that is the last thing we got to do is the mashed potatoes, and it is 4 o'clock. Okay, the potatoes are ready to drain. I'm going to carry them over here. I'm just going to pour in my colander. Alright. And I get them back in the pot as soon as I can. Get most of your water off. If you find that you're having a lot of water left in your potatoes after you drain them, I am so messy today. You can put them back on the burner for a few minutes, and that will cook off some of the water. Alright, as I said earlier, I have 1.5 sticks of butter and about 3/4 cups of milk in here. I'm just going to pour this in here, and I may have to add more milk. I don't know. Alright, I've got my mixer going. Sorry it's so steamy. I'm going to go ahead and cut it on low, and I just kind of go through here, start mixing it. I'm going to cut it up. I don't like to put cold butter and cold milk when I first do my potatoes. I think they do better when the milk and the butter's warm. I think I am going to have to add some more milk, and it will be cold. So it's kind of hard to judge how much milk you're going to need. Let me go ahead and get that out of the fridge. I should have already gotten it out. I may go ahead and add a little bit more butter too. I think we've done really good on time today. I'm going to go ahead and just add some more milk. Alright, sorry the video cut off on the mashed potatoes, but I did finish them up. I'm going to show you everything I made today. So here's my turkey. I've had it under the aluminum foil since I got it out of the oven. Sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed. There's the turkey breast all ready to go. Here is the homemade Texas Roadhouse rolls. I'm going to get them in a container. Okay, and I'm going to come over here. Sorry for the view. Alright, here's the mashed potatoes. They're all done, creamy. Oh, they look so good. Alright, and now we're going to go on to the green beans. They're done. The macaroni and cheese is under this foil. I hope my camera don't die again. Alright, there's the macaroni and cheese ready to go. Reach over here. Here's the corn. And the stuffing is in the toaster oven. try to get a picture of that for you. The only thing I did not make today was dessert. If I'm making dessert, I can usually do that the day before. Hope you can see that. There's the stuffing. But it's only, don't look at that clock because my clock on my toaster oven's not set. It's only 4:20. We got everything done. Okay, so it's 4:20. We got everything done. We cooked Thanksgiving dinner. I started at 10 o'clock this morning, and we're done by 4:20. You could have got done a little bit sooner, but it took me a while to set the camera up and get the angles right and all that. So you'll get done a little bit quicker than I did. I hope I showed you some tricks that helped along the way, especially with the stuffing and the macaroni and cheese. The turkey, I'm sure it's going to taste good. I'll let you know. But I just want to wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving. And I hope this video helps make your Thanksgiving dinner prep a little bit easier. Please hit the subscribe button for the Red-Headed Homemaker. And I really, really, really enjoy making these videos for y'all. And I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.